In fact, it was at the beginning of August that the engine was completed, fitted to Jim's test bed number 4, and was ready to roll. And I think it's probably best here that we let Jim take the stand and explain the whys and wherefores of that little day. Jim, where are you?
Can I stand on that?
Yeah.
Okay. Nigel Snowbox again, Jim. I stand height. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Well, Peter's told you the start off to the engine, and it takes me back now to August 1964, when I had the privilege of starting the very first of the V12s. It wasn't this particular engine, this is number 2 as far as I remember. I was instructed that I was not to start the engine on my own. We were to be invited Bill Haynes, or Mr. Haynes as we knew him, Harry Mundy and the chief designer Claude Daly to come and view the thing as it started up. We got it all ready, primed everything because the engine had been built several months before, the bottom half in particular. We had outside pumps, we primed everything, oil and everything else in the right position. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Right position. So we decided, a chap called Ron Greaves and myself, who was my assistant in those days, we decided before Mr. Haynes arrived it would be a good idea, I think, that we should make sure the thing would run. So everything went right, we got it right, got the mixture and everything correct. The engine fired up, we shut it down, and went and told my boss at the time, Bill Wilkinson. He said the engine's ready for Mr. Haynes to view. Right on the dot, 2 o'clock, Mr. Haynes and everybody else appeared. Got the engine going, we ran it up to about 3,500. Mr. Haynes was all smiles, looking very happy, and he said, right, that'll do. But as he was about to leave, he pulled to me one side and he said, you'd run that before I got there, hadn't you? I had to admit, yes, Mr. Haynes, but at least I knew it would run before you got here. So that's the sort of man he was. He's a real gentleman.
So just follow on from there. Once the initial running had been was well underway, then serious development was on the cards. Particularly as far as the porting and combustion was concerned. A lot of this work was done on single-cylinder engine under the direction of Frank Philpott. So Frank's best qualified to talk about that to you. So wherever he is, he's lurking there. This way, Frank.
No, he always was shy.
Yes.
Managed it in one click. Right, good afternoon. Yes, I'm going to tell you this to give you some of the history of Jaguar and my side of the business. I started there in 1948, and as an apprentice, so I was there till 1953. I went in the army, did the usual service, then came back and was offered a job by Mr. Emerson, and so naturally I took it, and I started working for Mr. Emerson, who was the chief development engineer, the engineer. I worked for him, and unfortunately he died shortly afterwards. And sometime later the foreman of the shop came down and said, "We want to know what you were employed for." And I didn't tell him what I thought, but I broke a leg or something, and so they said, "You better go in the office and do the paperwork for a time." So I ended up in the office. Well, some years later, Harry Mundy had joined us, and he came down into the shop one day and said, "Would you," with my boss was Mr. Wilkinson, and they said, well, we'd like you to start to run the single cylinder development engine, which was then at Coventry Climax. So I said, well, I'd do it, but providing it was under Jaguar and not down the road in Coventry. And there was a major reason for that. You've got support all around you from the top to the bottom. You've always had support at Jaguar. And the experimental was very good. And if I say so because I was there, the engine side was even better. Anyway, we had this single cylinder, and we basically a 3.4 litre straight off the XK, the front cylinder, and the block and the head, the block and the sump, and they were cast from the original equipment. A special crankshaft was made, and we could use any of the pistons and rods and oil pumps. And we cut the heads, the back off the heads, and we fitted those, and we developed a system which you could reliably get performance from and gauge what improvements were coming on. We'd done a lot of work before the XJ13, this engine came through, and there was something amiss with the combustion. We didn't like, there was something that told us that it wasn't quite right. So the angle of the port we altered because they wanted to change the entry into the cylinder. But then we realised that the piston crown was too high. It was an apex job, and so we took the top off that so it was a single cylinder, not a cylinder divided, and that gave us a bit more scope. The scope you need for that sort of thing is not just to have good combustion, but to have it in the right place, so you've got the pressure in the right place. We later passed all these mods onto the 12, and fortunately they worked. It is, a lot of it is chance, a lot of it is backing up what you think you know about it, and anyway it worked, and so we got to this. But I really didn't work on the 12 for a number of years, not till the 10-to-1 came out did I actually do work on the 12. But I know that Jim's story about it is far more knowledgeable than mine ever will be, so I should take more notice of what he says.
Engine in the Mark 10. It was configured as a wet sump engine with road going camshafts, and it was I'm not too sure, but I think you were talking about 330 horsepower-ish, somewhere around there, Jim. I don't know, can't recall. And it was fitted into a Mark 10. And if ever you wanted to impress anybody at the local pub, then all you would have had to do is to take this thing down in the car park, and it would blow their minds when you opened the bonnet. There was also an 8-cylinder version which looked the same, but it wasn't quite, because it had got 4 cylinders missing, the 2 at either end. But when it was installed in the car, it fooled many people. By the end of 1965, this project was being wound up, really, because essentially the engine was probably too big, too complicated, too costly, and the single cam version had started to come on stream, and was much more much more suited to a road car application. So the engine was removed, and it lay around for a while in the experimental engine section, and it was last used in around 1969 for a comparison between the 4-cam configuration and the single camper bank, the twin cam configuration, for emission purposes. And I think it just confirmed really that from an emission point of view, the single cam version was a superior piece of work. So it was then idle again. The next time that, and I remember actually seeing this engine in 1972, there was a long exhibition. It lasted for about 3 months at Coventry's Herbert Art Gallery of Jaguar's history, right from Swallow sidecars right through to the period in 72. And on display was this engine, it had been prettied up, the flywheel was chrome plated, it had got no induction system on it at all, just blank plates over the inlet ports, various other, the front crankshaft damper was chromed, one or two other things were chromed, it looked very nice. And it was, I believe it was the first time that Jaguar had shown a 4-cam twin cam engine publicly. So one assumes it had become one of the artifacts of the PR and exhibitions department. And there's evidence from photographs taken in Jaguar's showroom at the main office block at Browns Lane of a car, and in the background is this engine. So, but it would appear that by about 1974 it had somehow or other managed to go on holiday to Germany, and we were in the middle of the BL era, where nobody at BL cared about anything heritage or anything else. So somehow or other it would appear the engine failed to return. Whether its visa ran out or not, I don't know. And then of course that was where Neville picked up the story. So I think he's done an absolutely remarkable job to get this engine to the condition it is now, particularly as he had to start from scratch as far as the induction system is concerned, which was no mean feat in itself. And I wish him very well in it. But I would also like to say that amongst the others that are here from the old team today, we've got Peter Jones. Peter was one of my old colleagues and very much my mentor at one time from the competition department, and Brian Martin, who was responsible for the electrics on the car. So Brian, at least his electrics weren't of the Lucas variety, so he wasn't named the Prince of Darkness. But it's good that we're all here to be able to see what Neville's achieved and what he will achieve, and look forward very much to seeing the completed car. So thank you very much.